The 1996 300EX has broke down, and my son drives it and he came back and he says, I put it in gear, I let the clutch out, and nothing happens. So that was a couple days ago. I'm gonna fire it up and see what he's talking about. We got neutral. Okay, so we'll hold the clutch, put it in gear. Try second gear, third. Okay, something going on with the front sprocket. We gotta get in there. Well, 10 mil. Awesome. It's missing the stay for the sprocket. This bolt on there is a ring. 2 bolts on each side. The sprocket should be way back in there. So let's get the master link off. Get the chain out of the way. See if we can get that thing off. Hope that we can. Okay, I got the master link right there. I've already got it loose with a couple of taps. I'm just taking the screwdriver and a ball peen hammer and tapping the end. Just put it on the end that's open on the master link. Give it a few taps like that. Okay. That's the keeper. There she goes. Okay, we got ourselves a real ugly situation here. The sprocket won't come off. And it's loose on the shaft. This ain't good. So I used a pry bar. Pry bar wasn't doing it. I'm not too sure if I can get this gear puller in there or not. So we'll try it anyway. Either way, that output shaft on that motor is probably toast. We're looking at a pretty major repair. All right, we got the gear puller on. I'm not feeling overly optimistic about this one, but we'll see what happens. Didn't even budge. Okay, here's the carnage. There's some chunks missing here. Chunks missing there. This is pretty rough. Really, this needs a new output shaft. There's our sprocket. Kind of looks like it was welded. Well, I've come to the conclusion that I'm going to cut my losses with this. The sprocket that I took off was already welded onto this thing once. Not very heavily, just kind of in one spot. And that lasted probably 2 years like that. So instead of pulling that motor and splitting that whole case and getting that counter shaft out, I think I'm going to weld it on again. It's not something that I'm proud of. It's not something I would normally do. And honestly, I hate the idea of it. I think it's wrong in every way possible. Okay, now that I've confessed that I'm going to be doing something that I absolutely think is stupid, and I'll probably never ever do again in my life, I'm going to see if I can do it properly. So the idea is to get the sprocket put back on, getting it as close to the splines as I can, and the only thing I'm worried about is heating up that seal and cooking that, and then we'll have a big oil leak. So I'm going to get the sprocket on and we'll see what's going on from there. I'm going to put the socket on over top of the shaft. It's on quite a ways, thinking I can run a hot bead around that. The biggest thing that I'm afraid of is having the gear all warped. But when I spin it, it looks fairly straight. Oh, I hate this. But it's either that or the machine is down. It's worth nothing. Let's weld it up. I just got a whole lot going on right now. I can't justify tearing down that transmission to replace that output shaft. If I would have known that the sprocket was welded on when I purchased it, I probably, wouldn't have. In a couple years, I'll be upgrading my son's quad, but for now, it'll be a runner. And if I want to unload it in a couple years, I'll be letting the future buyer know that it is welded on and not be shady. I hope it's hot enough. Okay, in attempts to keep that seal from getting too hot, I'll put a wet rag in behind here. I'm really going to be laying a pretty heavy bead on it this time. I don't think the last time it was strong enough, and it eventually rusted and broke free. I'm hoping this time that that wet rag will keep me from melting that seal completely, so I can lay some good heavy metal in there. We'll see how she holds up. Well, we got the sprocket all welded up now. I guess we'll just find out how it goes. I'll put the chain back on and the new master link, put her all back together and go for a ride, dump the clutch a bunch of times, see if she holds up. Now he's gonna roll the chain on. I'm not gonna put any of that guard and stuff back on until I test drive it. Okay, the chain's back on. Okay, now we're gonna fire it up, let it warm up. Trx is ready to get back on the trail. I mean, it sucks. That is not something that I would call a fix by any means, but this is a pretty old bike, 1996. Somebody already welded it on once, not very much, and it lasted a couple years like that. So if I can get another couple years out of this bike with my son riding it, he'll be ready for something new anyway. So yeah, hopefully you guys don't have to do that. But if you do, hopefully that helps you guys help yourselves and keeps these old bikes alive. Thanks for watching.